Welcome, folks. Servant leadership is one of those topics that before I do a seminar or a webinar or speak at a conference, one of the things we usually do is have a call. And one of the questions I usually ask is, what prompted this topic of servant leadership? And there's usually a bit of silence, sometimes to the point of uncomfortable silence, as folks start to explain, well, we were always afraid to bring it in. We knew it was the right thing to do, but we were afraid our folks, our leaders, and the people they were leading would take advantage of the leaders, and that the leaders would think that servant leadership was some sort of weak position, being of service, and get walked all over. And one of the things I do is, do you have any examples of that? Do you have any proof? And they're like, no, but just the title. Now, I know the title, servant leadership, leaves a lot to run with and to kind of get into the theater of our minds and do some rumination with. But one of the things that I wanted to do in this video today is talk about why we resist talking about and above all, implementing servant leadership practices, and talk about what are the benefits of, well, once we realize what the myths are, what the misconceptions are, why we resist it, what are we really getting out of it? What are we getting out of it as a leader? What is our organization? And of course, what does our team get out of that? So to start things off, why do we resist? Well, when you think about empowerment, empowering others, one of the things that comes up right away, and you might be thinking it or feeling it right now, is there's a loss of control. Yes, when I am a servant leader, I'm giving up control to the people that should be and have been trained and know how and have the wherewithal to do the job, the task, the project the way it needs to be done. So yes, I am giving up control. And that is a strength to be able to recognize, hey, this is not the highest and best use of me. This is not in my wheelhouse or part of my subject matter expertise. Let me delegate that. We also think about, with empowerment, we think about our perfectionistic tendencies. Well, if I realize what the bald man is telling me there to be true, that I should give this up, I should give control away to someone else who's far better suited to do this, well, they won't do it the way that I did it. True. There are many ways to get to an endpoint, to an outcome. You can have guardrails, you can have constraints, you can have a lot of different, if you will, controls in place, boundaries, hard edges. But in the middle is autonomy and agency for them to do it. And well, a lot of times what we find is when people can give up the control, get past that I did it the best, or it won't look like I did it, or maybe it's even another person. It won't look like, Joe when Joe did it. What you find is a lot of times that there is a better. There is a better end result. There's a better work product. There's a savings, again, in time or money. The other thing we think about servant leaders demonstrate empathy. And a lot of times when you start talking about empathy, people confuse it with sympathy, that I have to give you pity. Absolutely not. Empathy is about understanding. And then when they say, okay, yeah, I get that, they think that they have to coddle people with their feelings or emotions, or challenge their feelings and emotions. And well, that is just the opposite of what needs to be done. Empathy with another team member. Empathy with your team is understanding what they're going through and how they feel about it. That's it. What are they going through? Explain your situation, explain your struggle, explain what's going on, and how do you feel about that? So again, it's not a coddling, it's not a challenging, it's an understanding. And then finally, when you think about a servant leader must have the rock solid fundamentals and foundation of ethics, meaning they have to have a high level of integrity. And one of the things that comes with that is that feeling of, ooh, not that I am going to intentionally not have ethics or be ethical, or that I don't have integrity. It's just that we struggle with, how do I demonstrate that? Saying I'm an ethical person does nothing. Saying that I have integrity, I have high levels of integrity, does nothing. In fact, as they say, the talk is cheap. It comes in one ear, speeds up, and goes out the other. And they actually kind of walk away going, they have no clue what they are doing. But ethics means I'm always doing or always trying to do the right thing. And the same thing applies with integrity. I'm always trying to do the right thing. Sometimes as leaders, our decisions are not popular, but they are the right thing to do. Demonstrations of integrity do lots for an individual. As a leader, for individuals on the team, it showcases that this is what we do on this team. And together, when the team is doing that, demonstrating ethics, high ethical behavior, and high levels of integrity to each other, trust grows. So let's really dig into what's the benefit. Now that we know some of the top 3 reasons why people resist it, let's talk about what the benefits. The benefits of empowerment. Well, they are going to be more engaged with you, and not just with you, but with each other, and not just with you and each other that are on the team, but they're going to be engaged with their work. One of the things we see from servant leaders that practice this at the highest level, and again, there's not a finish line, pinnacle, or summit. We're always a work in progress on this, but the team feels that they should engage. They want to engage with the work because it's important, because they've been trained, they're using their subject matter expertise. It might be something they like to do or something they're good at, and they really want to deliver the goods on those things. So empowerment is one of the things I would focus on first if I wanted to improve my servant leadership skills. The other thing we see from empowering people is we see innovation and creativity grow. And a lot of times people feel stuck by told, here, you're going to do this, and here's how you're going to do it. Here's the checklist, the way Joe did it, and the way I did it, and the way Grandma did it back in the day. No, it's here are the roles, responsibilities, here are the constraints, here are the hard edges of the guardrails. In the middle, let your creativity and innovation go to work. Empathy. Benefits of having empathy with our team, again, to understand where people are and how they feel about it, builds trust, builds meaningful, cooperative, collaborative relationships where communication now flows freely. I feel, if I'm on your team and I am practicing as a leader, I'm practicing servant leadership with you, and I'm on your team, I feel I can come to you and be vulnerable. I can admit that I made a mistake. I can admit that I'm struggling with something. I can admit that something is awkward. And if you can't help me, because maybe that's not something you can help me with, but you can point me in the right direction to get me the help and the resources that I need. And finally, as mentioned when we talked about the resistance, the myths, the misconceptions of servant leadership, and we were talking about ethics and integrity, one of the things that is a struggle with all teams now, whether they're together and have been together the past 4 years, or they've been working in a remote, a work from home or hybrid experience, is that trust is a struggle. Building trust, and not just building it, establishing even just a little bit is a struggle, but keeping it is the real challenge. And so we think about, we always have to push it. We always have to have an icebreaker, a morale builder, a team builder to build trust. No. A lot of times once we make the initial trust building connections, then it's just a matter of demonstrating solid integrity, being vulnerable, admitting our mistakes. But again, when you think about ethics and you think about integrity, they have to be demonstrations. We can't just give it lip service. We have to demonstrate it through our actions and back it up and follow up and check in on people. It's with that that we get that to permeate out, it to ooze out, if you will, into the others that we are leading. So thanks for giving me a couple moments today to talk a little bit about the resistance to servant leadership. And again, the top 3 reasons we resist it, and also the top 3 benefits that we, the team, and the organization get out of us being a high-performing servant leader. Until next time, folks, take care of yourself so that you can take care of each other.